Hey guys, tonight we travel back to a time of brutal cold, immense danger, and staggering resilience. We're going to step into the life of one of our most misunderstood ancient relatives, a Neanderthal, trying to survive the unforgiving realities of the last ice age. You'll feel the world through their eyes, a world without comfort, without safety, but filled with a raw, powerful will to live. Honestly, given the daily itinerary of avoiding being eaten by a cave lion or crushed by a woolly mammoth, you probably won't survive this, but that's the fun of it, from a safe distance. So, before you settle into comfort, if stories like this bring you a sense of peace, please consider a gentle tap on the like and subscribe buttons. There's no obligation, of course, but it truly helps our late-night journeys find more fellow travelers. As always, I love to see how far these stories reach, so feel free to drop your location and local time in the comments below. It's always a quiet thrill to see our community of night owls and history lovers spanning the globe. Now, let the outside world fade away. Dim the lights down low. Let the soft white noise of a fan carry you. Take a deep breath and step with me into tonight's story. You aren't born into this world. Instead, you awaken into it, a consciousness blooming in a body that is both yours and not. There is no gentle transition, no soft light filtering through a window. There is only a sudden, biting cold that seeps through the thick animal hides piled over you. It's a damp, profound cold that feels like it's coming from the very stone beneath you, a cold that has settled deep into your bones. For a moment, you're just a floating awareness, disoriented. Then sensation floods in, and with it, identity. You are here. And here is a shallow limestone cave on the side of a windswept hill, somewhere in what will one day be called Europe, roughly 40,000 years ago. Your first conscious thought isn't a thought at all, but a feeling, a deep, hollow, gnawing ache in your gut. It's a familiar companion, this hunger. It's the engine that drives your every action, the first thing you feel upon waking, and the last thing you feel as you drift into a fitful, weary sleep. You shift, and the movement sends a cascade of complaints through your body. The ground is unforgiving. Your pillow, a smoothed-out rock you've become begrudgingly accustomed to, has done no favors for the crick in your neck. Your joints, thick and robust, feel stiff and ancient in the pre-dawn chill. You push the heavy furs aside, a patchwork of reindeer, bison, and wolf pelts, crudely stitched together with sinew. They stink. Everything stinks. The air is thick with the ripe, musky scent of unwashed bodies, the lingering odor of stale blood from a past meal, the sharp tang of wood smoke from the dying embers in the central fire pit, and the damp, earthy smell of the cave itself. This is the perfume of your existence, and it doesn't even register as unpleasant. It's just the smell of home. You sit up, your bare feet meeting the dusty, frigid floor. Your body is a testament to this harsh world. You are short, immensely stocky, a low center of gravity built for stability and power. Your chest is a massive barrel, housing lungs capable of gulping down huge amounts of thin, cold air. Your limbs are thick with muscle, scarred from 1,000 minor injuries and a few major ones. A long, puckered white line runs down your left thigh, a memory of a slip on a glacial moraine. Your knuckles are calloused and swollen from a lifetime of shaping stone and breaking bones. This is a body built not for speed, but for incredible endurance and raw, brute strength. Across the flickering dimness of the cave, you see other shapes, other lumps under furs. This is your clan, your family, perhaps a dozen individuals in total. Your mother, her face already a mask of deep-set wrinkles, though she's likely not yet 30. Your brother, his legs still bound in a crude poultice of moss and herbs after a disastrous encounter with a woolly rhino. A few cousins, an uncle, and the elder, the matriarch, her face a roadmap of seasons, her eyes holding the wisdom of a long, hard-won life. She is the keeper of your clan's knowledge. Historians still argue whether your kind possessed the vocal complexity for what we'd call language. Your communication is a mix of guttural sounds, sharp grunts, expressive gestures, and a small vocabulary of shared words that get the point across with stark efficiency. A low growl means danger. A soft hoot means come here. A pointed finger and a sharp ah means look. It works. You look towards the mouth of the cave. It's a gaping maw of deep, impenetrable black, but you know that soon the weakest light of dawn will begin to bleed over the horizon. The world outside is a kingdom of ice. Vast sheets of it grind slowly over the landscape, carving valleys and flattening hills. The air is thinner, colder, and the world is painted in shades of white, grey, and the dark green of stubborn coniferous forests. The hunger in your belly gives a particularly sharp pang, a demanding twist that focuses your mind. Food, that is the only goal, the single, overriding imperative of the day. The dried strips of horse meat from 2 days ago are gone. The handful of frozen berries gathered last week were a meager dessert. Today, you must hunt. Failure is not an option. Failure means this gnawing ache turns into a debilitating weakness. Another day of failure, and the smaller members of the clan, the children, will grow silent and listless. 3 days of failure, and the cold will start to claim the weak. You have seen it happen. You rise, moving with a practiced quietness that belies your bulky frame. You are a predator, and the first lesson of the hunt is stealth. Even in your own home, you step over the sleeping forms, your eyes adjusted to the near-total darkness. In the center of the living area are the embers of the fire. It's your most precious possession, more valuable than any tool or fur. It is life. It is warmth, a shield against the crushing cold. It is a weapon, a ward against the great predators that stalk the night cave lions, hyenas, the colossal cave bears. And it is a kitchen, the means to unlock the life-giving nutrients in meat. Someone, usually one of the younger members, is tasked with keeping it alive through the night. Tonight, the embers glow a dull, sleepy red, a good sign. The fire has not died. You'll reach for your spear. It leans against the cave wall, right where you left it. It is your other life, a shaft of you, painstakingly straightened over a low flame, smoothed with sandstone. The tip is a masterpiece of flint, a style archaeologists will one day call It's a hand-axe-like point, sharp on all edges, secured to the shaft with birch bark tar and wrapped tightly with animal sinew. It's heavy, balanced, an extension of your arm. It feels right in your hand, powerful. You also grab a smaller, sharper flint knife, tucking it into a leather cord around your waist. This is not a world where you go anywhere unprepared. There's no such thing as a safe walk. Your brain, you might be surprised to know, is actually larger than that of the modern humans who are, at this very moment, beginning to make their own way across the continent. It's shaped differently, longer and lower, but it is a formidable tool. It's what allows you to map this vast, dangerous territory in your mind. You know which valleys hold herds of reindeer in this season, which rocky outcrops are favored by You know the subtle signs of a predator's passage, a patch of flattened grass, a faint scent on the wind. You can read the story of the land. This large brain allows you to plan, to strategize, to cooperate with your clan on a complex hunt that requires flanking, driving, and ambushing. Right now, that brain is entirely focused on a single image, a giant elk, a megaloceros with its impossibly wide antlers. They are wary, fast, and powerful, but they are also a walking larder of meat, fat, and hide. The image is a promise, a prayer. You look back at the sleeping forms. A soft grunt escapes your brother in his sleep, a sound of pain. Your mother shivers, pulling the furs tighter. This is why you hunt. It's not for glory or for sport. It's for them, for the quiet continuation of this fragile, flickering flame of life in the overwhelming cold. The hunger is not just yours. It is the clan's. Your strength is their strength. You turn back to the cave mouth. The blackness is starting to soften into a deep, bruised purple, the first hint of dawn. It is time. You take a final breath of the thick, familiar air of home, and step out into the brutal, beautiful, and uncaring world of the Ice Age. The cold hits you like a physical blow, shocking the breath from your lungs and instantly numbing your exposed skin. The hunt has begun. The air outside is a blade. It slices into your lungs, and you exhale a thick plume of white vapor that hangs in the still, purple air. The world is quiet, muffled by a thin blanket of fresh snow that fell overnight, covering the landscape in a veneer of clean, cold perfection. Every surface, from the jagged black rocks to the drooping fronds of immense, hardy ferns, is edged with a delicate crust of frost that glitters faintly in the nascent light. You stand for a moment, letting your eyes adjust, letting the cold sharpen your senses. There is no time for a gentle warm-up, no stretching routine. The world demands you be ready, instantly. You begin to move, your heavy fur-clad feet crunching softly on the snow. You don't walk so much as flow across the terrain, a low, powerful gait that eats up the ground with surprising efficiency. Your large, wide nose, and feature archaeologists will one day puzzle over, is already doing its work, warming the frigid air before it hits your massive lungs, a built-in biological radiator. You follow a barely there trail that winds down from your cave shelter, a path worn into the earth by generations of your clan. To your left, the valley drops away into a sea of mist, a roiling, grey ocean from which the dark, spear-like tops of ancient pines emerge like the masts of sunken ships. Your uncle, a man whose silence is even deeper than your own, falls into step behind you. His face is a craggy map of scars, his one good eye sharp and focused. He carries a similar heavy spear. There was no discussion, no plan laid out in words. He simply awoke, saw you preparing, and knew. His presence is a comfort. Hunting an animal the size of a giant elk is a fool's errand for one. For two, it is merely incredibly dangerous. The hunger you woke with is a cold, hard, not in your stomach now, but your mind pushes it aside. It is fuel, not a distraction. You scan everything, your eyes constantly moving. A flicker of movement in the distance, just a bird, the dark shape of a fallen log knot, a predator in waiting. You are cataloguing the world, assessing every shadow, every sound. Your life depends on this constant, low-level paranoia. This is your version of a morning commute, though significantly more likely to end in you being trampled. You reach the floor of the valley, entering the forest proper. The trees here are colossal, ancient things that have weathered countless winters. Their scent is sharp and clean. The air is so cold it feels brittle, as if a loud noise could shatter it into a million pieces. And it is in this profound silence that you hear it, the distant, sharp crack of a twig. It's unnaturally loud, and it's not a sound the wind makes. You and your uncle freeze simultaneously, becoming just another two moss-covered rocks in the landscape. You exchange a glance. No gesture is needed. The hunt has found its direction. You begin to move again, but now with an impossible slowness, a predatory grace. You no longer grunt. You glide, placing each foot with meticulous care, using the patches of exposed moss and soft earth to dampen the sound. You move into the wind, the faint breeze a cold caress on your right cheek, carrying your scent away from your quarry. Soon, you'll find the signs. Tracks. They are huge, cloven hoof prints pressed deep into the snow, each one the size of your splayed hand. Migloceros, the giant elk, and they are fresh. So fresh you can see the sharp, crisp edges in the snow, not yet softened by the air. You squat down, your thick fingers hovering over the print. You can almost feel the residual warmth of the creature that made it. Your heart gives a heavy, solid thump against your ribs. This is it. The knot of hunger in your stomach tightens with anticipation. You follow the tracks, your entire being narrowed to a single point of focus. All the aches in your joints, the biting cold, the memory of your warm furs, it all fades away, replaced by the primal, electric thrill of the stalk. This is what you were built for. This is the deadly ballet your ancestors have danced for 100,000 years. Your body is a weapon, and your mind is its edge. Historians of the distant future will hold up spears like yours and argue endlessly. Were they for throwing elegant javelins launched from a safe distance? Or were they for something far more personal and terrifying? The sheer heft of your U-shaft and the robust, brutal design of your flint point suggests an answer. This is not a weapon for a coward. This is a tool for close, bloody work, for confronting a beast many times your size and weight and convincing it to die. It's the kind of work that results in the skeletons of your people showing the same patterns of traumatic injury as modern-day rodeo clowns and bull riders. Up close and personal, the trail leads you through a dense thicket of frozen rhododendron-like shrubs, their leaves stiff and waxy. You have to move even slower here, pushing the brittle branches aside with painstaking care. A single misplaced snap could send your breakfast bolting for the horizon. Through a gap in the leaves, you see it. Your breath catches in your throat, a plume of vapor instantly dissolving. It's a young male, separated from the main herd. Still, it is immense. Its flank is a wall of thick, brown fur. Its head is held high, and from its spring the most absurdly magnificent things you have ever seen. A set of antlers so wide they seem to defy possibility. A bony crown that could span the width of a small stream. Steam puffs from its nostrils as it browses on the bark of a willow tree, its powerful jaws stripping the wood with casual force. It is beautiful, it is majestic, and it is your only thought, the image that has burned in your mind since you awoke. It is meat, it is fat, it is hide for new blankets, sinew for thread, bone for tools. It is another week of life for your clan. Your uncle has circled around, a silent shadow detaching from your own. He will approach from the other side to cut off a potential escape route. You are the primary, the one who must make the first move. You grip your spear, the hewed smooth and familiar in your calloused hands. Your knuckles are white. You can smell the animal now, a rich, musky scent that makes your mouth water. You can hear the soft rasp of its teeth on the tree bark, the gentle snort as it clears its nostrils. You take one slow, deliberate step out from behind the cover of the shrubs, then another. The elk has not seen you. It is still preoccupied, its massive head turned slightly away. This is the moment, the precipice between hunger and survival. The air is still. The world seems to hold its breath. You raise the heavy spear, your powerful shoulder and back muscles coiling like a spring, preparing to drive that sharpened piece of flint forward with all the force your brutal life has given you. Your world narrows to the point of your spear and the patch of brown hide just behind the elk's shoulder. Your muscles scream with coiled tension. You take a breath, the cold air burning, and you begin the lunge surge of power intended to end the stalk in a single, decisive moment of bloody violence. But the world, which had been holding its breath, suddenly shrieks. It's not you that spooks the elk. In the second before your spear would have flown, its magnificent head snaps up, its wide, dark eyes rolling with white-hot panic. It lets out a whistling snort of pure terror, and it's gone. Not in a graceful bound, but in a clumsy, crashing explosion of frenzied muscle, disappearing into the mists and trees as if it were a phantom. The prize, the food, the warmth, the very reason for your being here, evaporates into the frozen air. For a heartbeat, you are frozen in confusion and searing disappointment. All that work, all that patience, wasted. Then you hear it, a low, guttural rumble that seems to vibrate up from the frozen earth itself, through the soles of your feet and into your bones. It's a sound that speaks of ancient power and deep-seated aggression. The hair on your arms and the back of your neck stands on end, a primal response to a primal threat. You slowly, carefully, turn your head. Your uncle is already facing the new danger, his spear held ready, his body a statue of grim readiness. Out of the swirling grey mist, a shape resolves itself. At first, it's just a darker patch of grey, then a hulking shadow, and then it becomes terrifyingly real. Ursus Spelius, and it is a mountain of muscle and matted, dark fur. It rises onto its hind legs to its full, impossible height, blotting out the pale morning sky. Its head alone is the size of your entire torso. Small, intelligent, black eyes fix upon you. Its muzzle is stained dark with blood, and the reek of its breath, a foul mix of carrion and damp earth, rolls over you in a wave. This is the true king of this frozen forest. It drops back to all fours with a ground-shaking thump, and you see the reason for the elk's panic and the bear's presence. Lying in the snow not 30 paces from you is the carcass of a reindeer, its ribcage torn open. This is the bear's territory. This is its kill, and you and your uncle have blundered right into its dining room. The apathetic cruelty of the Ice Age is that you can go from being the apex predator to potential prey in the span of a single breath. The bear takes a slow, deliberate step towards you, its massive head low. The rumble in its chest is constant now, a terrifying engine of menace. Every instinct in your body screams at you to run, to turn, and flee and never look back. But you know that is a death sentence. To run is to identify yourself as prey. To run is to invite the charge. You plant your feet in the snow, widening your stance. You raise your heavy spear, not to lunge, but to present a barrier, a sharp and pointy reason for the bear to reconsider. Beside you, your uncle does the same. You are no longer two hunters. You are a single, defiant wall of desperation. You open your mouth and let out a roar of your own raw, guttural sound from deep in your barreled chest. It's a pathetic sound compared to the bear's growl, a dog barking at thunder, but it's all you have. Historians will one day debate the exact nature of your relationship with these creatures. Did you hunt them? A blast of hot, foul air that briefly melts the frost on the ground before it. It's testing you, assessing you. Are you a threat to its meal, or just allowed? The adrenaline drains out of you, leaving you trembling and weak. Your arms feel heavy, the spear suddenly an impossible burden. The silence that rushes back in is more profound than before. The hunt has not just failed, it has been a catastrophic disaster. You have risked everything and gained nothing. The hunger in your stomach, forgotten in the face of terror, returns with a vengeance, a hollow, mocking ache. You are cold, you are hungry, and you are still very, very far from home. Annoying interruption. Its small eyes move from you to your uncle, then back again. It sees the spears. It sees that you are not backing down, daring the unimaginable risk for their meat and fur. It charges. Or did you only ever confront them like this? Not a true attempt to kill. It is a bluff, a terrifying display of power designed to shatter your nerve. But that distinction is meaningless when 1,000 pounds of furious predator is closing the distance in a blur of motion. The ground shakes. Snow flies from beneath its massive paws. It covers half the distance between you and 2 heartbeats, its head down, its mouth open, revealing yellowed teeth the size of your fingers. By accident, unthinking, adrenaline. There is no past, no future, only the charging bear. You scream again, a high, ragged sound of defiance and terror, and you brace your spear against the frozen ground, its point aimed at the center of that charging mass. This is it, the end of the story. When competing for the most desirable real estate, a dry, warm cave, a terrifying monument of Ice Age power. Then, slowly, it drops back to all fours. It gives you one last, long look, a look that feels ancient and dismissive. It turns its massive body and lumbers back toward its kill, disappearing into the mist as silently as it arrived, leaving only its tracks and the lingering stench of death in the air. The evidence found in those caves, the strangely arranged skulls, might suggest a ritualistic respect, a kind of worship. But right now, faced with the living, breathing reality of the beast, there is no sense of worship. There is only a cold, stark calculation of survival. The bear huffs. Then, it is not a full charge. Your world compresses into a tunnel of pure. But 5 paces away, the bear digs its claws into the earth and slides to a halt, sending a shower of snow and dirt over you. It rises up again, roaring, a full-throated blast of sound that physically pushes you back. It's a warning, a final statement of dominance. It has proven its point. It holds the pose for a long moment. You and your uncle stand there, frozen, for how long you do not know. The walk back is a silent admission of defeat. The forest, which on the way out was a landscape of possibility, is now just a cold, empty expanse. Each crunch of your feet in the snow sounds like an accusation. You can see the dark opening, a wound in the limestone cliff face. You know the others are awake now, huddled around the fire, waiting. But there is no outlet for it. You cannot punch the wind or scream at the ice. So you turn that energy inward, towards something you can control. You are about to engage in an act of creation, so sophisticated, it borders on magic, and a long, thick piece of reindeer antler to act as a soft hammer or baton. You place the flint nodule, the core, on your thigh. The first stage is preparation. You are not trying to create the point yet. You are preparing the rock to give it to you. Is its perfect symmetry, its pleasing leaf shape, a sign of an emerging artistic sense, a desire for beauty beyond simple function? It is a masterpiece of dark grey flint, about 5 inches long, triangular, with a thickened base for hefting and edges that are a serrated nightmare of sharpness. You run your thumb gently over its surface, feeling the ridges and valleys left by your work. You have taken a worthless, dull rock and imbued it with your skill, your knowledge, your will. You have created a point of focused lethality. You have created a promise. The next hunt will not fail. In a world of chaos and failure, you have made something perfect, and for now, that is enough. Or is it that the most symmetrical, most balanced shape is also the most aerodynamically sound and structurally strong? You don't know the answer. You only know that this is how the elder taught you. You know that a point shaped this way feels right in your hand. It flies true. It bites deep. It is both beautiful and deadly. And in your world, those are often the same thing. With the hammerstone, you begin to strike the edges of the core, sending small, thick flakes flying. Each tink of the stone is precise, calculated. You are creating a platform, a specific angle on the edge of the core. You are shaping the face of the core, determining the exact length and thickness of the flake that will eventually be born from it. This requires immense forethought, the ability to see the finished tool inside the rough, raw stone. You are a master of the Mousterian tool industry, a tradition of stonecraft passed down through countless generations. This isn't just banging rocks together. It's a science, an art form born of necessity. You put the large core aside and pick up the precious flake. You also pick up another tool, a small, pointed piece of bone. This is for pressure flaking. You press the tip of the bone against the sharp edge of the flake and apply steady pressure until a tiny, thin sliver of flint pops off. You do this again and again, hundreds of times, working your way around the entire edge of the tool. It's meticulous, painstaking work. A small slip can ruin the edge or send a crack through the entire piece. Your mind is completely focused. The hunger, the failure of the hunt, the called it, all disappears. There is only the feel of the stone, the pressure of the bone, the tiny, satisfying pop of each flake. Your spear. It served you well as a threat against the bear, but it did not taste the blood of the elk. It is a good spear, but it can be better. You need a new point. You switch to the antler baton. It's softer than the stone, which gives you more control over the fracture. You hold the core steady and, with a single, sharp, perfectly placed blow on the prepared platform, you strike. There is a deep, satisfying a large, flat, almost perfectly symmetrical flake detaches from the core, falling onto the hide below. It is beautiful, oval-shaped, with a raised ridge down the center, and lethally sharp edges. This is the prize. They will see you and your uncle emerge from the tree line empty-handed, and they will understand their own hunger, which they had pushed back with the hope of your success, will sharpen once more. The disappointment will be a shared silent weight upon the whole clan. Your uncle walks a few paces ahead, his shoulders slumped. A few faces turn towards you, their expressions hopeful, then instantly shuddering into resignation as they see your hands are empty. No one speaks. Your mother simply adds a few more pieces of dried lichen to a pot of melting snow over the fire. Here, you keep your treasure, a pile of flint nodules. They are not shiny jewels or precious metals. They are far more valuable. They are the raw material of survival. You run your calloused hands over them, feeling their weight, their texture. You are looking for the perfect one, not too large, not too small, with a fine, consistent grain. You pick one up, a dark gray nodule the size of a large bison kidney. You tap it lightly with a knuckle. The sound is high and clear, without any dull thuds that might indicate an internal fracture. This is the one. It will make a thin, bitter tea, but it is warm and it will fill the stomach for a little while. It is a gesture of comfort in a world that offers very few. The shared failure hangs between you, a palpable, freezing fog. There are no words of consolation, no discussion of what went wrong. The bear was. The elk fled. You are returning with nothing but the gnawing void in your belly and the lingering ghost of adrenaline. This is a common story, and it needs no narration. As you approach the familiar hillside leading to your cave, the shame intensifies. You enter the cave. The air is warmer here, thick with the familiar smells of home. You feel a surge of frustration, a useless anger at the bear, at the elk, at the entire frozen world. You move to a small, dark recess at the back of the cave. This is your personal space, your workshop. You carry it back towards the light, near the cave mouth, and sit on your haunches, a worn hide placed on the ground to catch the debris. First, you select your own tools. A hard, round, quartzite hammerstone for the rough work. With the core prepared, the moment of truth arrives, but the work is not done. This is merely the blank. Now you must refine it. Historians will one day look at a point like the one you are making and argue. Finally, it is done. You hold it up to the grey light. You hold the new flint point in your palm, its sharp edges and perfect symmetry, a small, hard kernel of order in a world of chaos. The pride of its creation warms you for a moment, but it is a thin warmth, and it cannot compete with the persistent cold or the hollow ache in your stomach. Not for a grand hunt, but for a quick Laresque survey of his trap lines near the cave. His efforts were not entirely fruitless. He returned with 2 snowshoe hares, their white winter coats already expertly stripped away. There's no dinner table, no assigned seating. Proximity to the fire is everything. The smell of the roasting meat and sizzling fat is agonizing, making your stomach clench. When they are done, blackened on the outside and steaming within, the elder takes them. It coats your mouth, slides down your throat, and lands in your stomach like a warm, heavy stone. What happened? You begin to tell the story, not with words, but with a language of gesture and sound. There is no blame in their eyes, no judgment for your failure. They know the dangers. They have all seen the bears, lost family to the cold, felt the terror of a hunt gone wrong. There is only a shared understanding, a quiet empathy that strengthens the bonds between you. You use your hands to show the great width of the elk's antlers. The gnawing hunger in your belly has been blunted, pushed back to a dull ache. It is not the deep satisfaction of a full belly, but it is enough to see you through the night. The fire crackles, the wind howls faintly outside the cave. You are safe, for now. You are together. You look at the perfect flint point lying beside you. Tomorrow, you will bind it to your spear shaft, and tomorrow, the story will begin again. The hunt is eternal. You puff out your chest and make a low, rumbling sound to signify its power. Then your face changes, your eyes widen. You hold up your hands, mimicking a great height, and let out a guttural growl that sends a shiver through the younger children. Bear. You gesture to the side, showing its sudden appearance. You mimic the elk's panicked flight. Your uncle, gnawing on a piece of bone, nods his head slowly, confirming the tale. Yes, that is how it was. It is the most calorie-dense food available, and your body craves it with a ferocious intensity. Around the circle, the others are doing the same, cracking bones, sucking and slurping the precious marrow, leaving nothing behind. It's a noisy, messy affair. There's no conversation, no one asking you to pass the salt, mostly because the concept of seasoning is a luxury some 30,000 years in the future. With her worn flint knife, she deftly portions the meat. It is a ritual as old as the clan. The best, most tender pieces go to the children first. Their small, eager hands grab the steaming morsels without ceremony. Then the elder takes her share, and a portion is given to your brother, whose injured leg needs the strength of protein to heal. The rest is for the adults. Your share is small, a few mouthfuls of stringy, gamey meat, but you devour it. There's no polite chewing. It's a purely functional, desperate transfer of energy. You huddle together, a small island of warmth and humanity against the vast, indifferent cold. Your uncle takes one of the heated horse bones from the fire. He places it on a large, flat Anvelstone and, with another heavy rock, he shatters it with a single, loud crack. The bone splits open, revealing the prize within, a waxy, pinkish-grey cylinder of marrow. He hands a piece of the shattered bone to you. It's still hot, and you juggle it in your hands before using your own flint knife to scoop out the greasy, rich substance. Historians of the future will look at the DNA recovered from sites like this and see the story of your lives written in it. Small, close-knit groups, intensely communal. They will argue whether your kind formed lasting pair bonds, or if the clan was the only true family unit. Looking at the faces around the fire, you know only this: these people are yours, and you are theirs. Your survival is intertwined, inseparable. They are small, meager prizes against the backdrop of the clan's collective hunger, but they are more than nothing. They are survival. Your work is done, and so your mind returns from the focused, meditative space of the craftsman to the wider reality of the cave. The reality of your hungry family. The fire in the center of the cavern has been built up. It crackles and spits, a lively, welcome sound, casting dancing shadows on the limestone walls. The clan is gathered around it, drawn to its heat like moths. They are being heated now at the edge of the fire, propped up against other rocks. This isn't to cook them. The meat is long gone. It is to make the thick bones brittle and to warm the precious treasure locked inside. The marrow, the thin, bitter tea made from lichen and melted snow is gone. In its place, there is the smell of food. Not the rich, hearty smell of a massive haunch of elk roasting, the triumphant scent you had dreamed of, but a fainter, more desperate aroma. While you were absorbed in your work, your uncle, ever the pragmatist, had slipped back out, along with the hares. The old bones from the last successful junta, remains of a wild horse from a week ago, have been pulled from the refuse pile. You joined the circle, finding a space between your mother and a young cousin whose eyes are fixed on the sizzling hairs. The hairs are cooked quickly, held over the hottest part of the flame on sharpened sticks. Now comes the second course. This is the real fuel. The taste is intensely savory, an explosion of fat and nutrients on your tongue. As you eat, your mother looks at you, a question in her eyes. The clan understands. The meal ends as quickly as it began. The bones are licked clean, the last smear of fat consumed. The greasy, satisfying film of marrow coats your tongue, and the immediate, sharp-toothed monster of hunger has been pacified into a dull, sleeping beast in your gut. The fire pops, sending a shower of orange sparks into the smoky darkness of the cave ceiling. In this quiet moment after the meal, a different kind of nourishment is offered. Your attention is drawn to the elder Dot. She sits directly across the fire from you, her back straight against the cave wall. She is the oldest member of your clan by at least 2 decades, a living miracle in a world where reaching 40 is a monumental achievement. Her face is a testament to her years, a dense network of wrinkles carving stories of sun, wind, and sorrow into her skin. Her body is gnarled and frail, her joints swollen, but her eyes, deep set beneath a heavy brow ridge, are as sharp and clear as a shard of freshly knapped flint. She is long past the ability to hunt or carry heavy loads, yet she is arguably the most vital member of your group. She is your memory, she is your wisdom. The skeleton of an old man with arthritis found at La Chapelle Saints will one day prove to future humans that your people cared for the old and infirm, that you understood their value beyond physical contribution. The elder is the living embodiment of that value. She catches your gaze across the flickering flames, and her eyes hold no pity for your failed hunt, only a deep, pragmatic understanding. She knows the frustration coiling in your gut. She has seen this story play out 1,000 times. She reaches for a small, worn leather pouch at her side. Slowly, with deliberate arthritis-stiffened fingers, she opens it. She does not pull out a tool or a secret food stash. Instead, she pours a small pile of rich, red powder into her palm. Red ochre, a colored earth you grind into a fine dust. She beckons you closer with a slight nod of her head. You obey without hesitation, moving around the fire to sit beside her. A few of the older children, sensing a lesson, shuffle closer as well. They know that what she has to offer is more crucial than a single meal. The elder dips a finger into the red powder. She says nothing. Her language is one of action and irrefutable demonstration. Historians of a distant age will argue over this, debating whether your grunts and simple words could convey abstract thoughts like tomorrow or strategy. The elder knows you don't need those words. You need a picture. She turns to a relatively smooth section of the limestone wall, a natural canvas darkened by years of smoke. Dot with her ochre-stained finger, she begins to draw. First, a crude, powerful shape with a low-slung head and a massive hump of muscle on its back. The lines are simple, but the image is unmistakable. Visceral, bare. She even adds the bloodied muzzle you had described with your gestures. She has taken your story and given it a terrifying, permanent form on the wall. Next, beside the bear, she draws a smaller symbol, a stick figure with a spear. Then she draws another, a figure with one leg bent at an awkward angle. Your brother. She looks at you, her eyes sharp, ensuring you understand the tableau. You and the other hunters, facing the great beast. She taps the drawing of the bear, then makes a low rumbling sound in her chest, perfectly mimicking the sound that vibrated through your bones this morning. Then, her lesson begins. She does not teach you how to kill the bear. She teaches you how to be smarter than the bear. Her finger, still red with ochre, traces a long, meandering line from the drawing of your clan's cave, showing the path you took this morning. She traces it right to the spot where you encountered the bear. Then, she rubs it out with the heel of her hand, erasing your mistake. She begins a new line. This one travels in a different direction. It follows the ridge of the hill, away from the dense, misty valley floor. She adds small symbols along this new path. A drawing of a plant with 3 leaves, a bitter but edible root that grows in the rocky soil there. She mimes the act of digging, her gnarled fingers curling like claws. She draws a picture of a bird, a ptarmigan, and mimics its foolish strutting walk. They are easy to kill with a well-aimed rock if you have patience. She draws a cluster of circles, berries, not the sweet summer berries, but the hardy frost-bitten ones that still cling to their thorny bushes, full of energy if you can stomach. There, sourness. She is remapping your world. She is reminding you that the giant elk is a prize, a magnificent gamble, but the world is full of smaller, safer bets. The foundation of survival is not built on the glorious, successful hunt, but on the patient, daily accumulation of these lesser treasures. Your mind, focused on the grand prize, had forgotten the smaller lessons. Her drawing is a public record, a correction to the clan's collective strategy. It says, "The valley belongs to the bear for now. Let him have it. Our path lies elsewhere." Finally, she takes a pinch of black manganese powder from another pouch. She mixes it with the red ochre. In her palm, using a little spittle, she creates a dark, thick paste. She looks at your face, then at the forest beyond the cave mouth. She dabs the paste onto your cheek, drawing a simple, jagged line. Then she draws another on your forehead. It's not decoration. She is teaching you camouflage. She is showing you how to break up the shape of your face, how to blend into the shadows of the rocks and trees on the high ridge. It's a practical magic, a way of disappearing. The lesson is over. She has given you a new plan, new knowledge, and new tools, all without a single complex word. She has taken your failure and transformed it into wisdom for the entire clan. You look at the drawing on the wall, the new path with its promise of roots and birds and berries. It is not the path of a glorious hunter, but the path of a survivor. And tomorrow, it is the path you will take. A quiet sense of purpose settles over you, pushing back the frustration. You are not just a weapon of brute force. You are a keeper of knowledge, a link in a chain of survival stretching back thousands of years, held together by the wisdom of elders like the one who now sits silently beside you, her work complete. The sun is a pale, hazy disk in the vast grey sky, offering little warmth but a harsh, revealing light. It is afternoon. The new spear point, a perfect fusion of your skill and the planet's geology, is now securely bound to its U-shaft with fresh sinew and a coating of sticky birch tar you prepared weeks ago. It feels balanced, deadly, and utterly useless for today's task. Today, you are not a hunter. You are a gatherer. You are high on the windswept ridge, the elder mapped out on the cave wall. The misty, dangerous valley where you met the bear is a world below, a silent grey sea. Up here, the wind is a constant, physical presence. It howls and whips around the black, jagged rocks, pulling at the furs on your back and trying to steal the breath from your lungs. With you is your young cousin, his eyes wide, learning the landscape, his job to hold the stiff hide bag that serves as your collecting basket. Historians of the future, with their neat charts and theories, will argue about the division of labor in your society. Was it the men who hunted and the women who gathered? The truth, as you live it, is more fluid. Today, with the big game proving elusive and dangerous, everyone who can walk contributes to the forage. Survival doesn't care for job titles. Your new spear is slung across your back. Your primary tool today is far humbler, a digging stick, a stout branch of oak, sharpened to a point and hardened in the fire. Following the mental map the elder gave you, you scan the frozen rocky ground. Your eyes, trained by a lifetime of observation, ignore the grand vistas and focus on the minute. You are looking for a specific pattern, a particular shade of green against the grey rock and brown. Frozen earth. There, tucked in the lee of a large boulder, sheltered from the worst of the wind, is a small patch of the three-leafed plant from the elder's drawing. To an untrained eye, it is just another weed. To you, it is a treasure. You kneel, the cold of the ground instantly seeping through your fur trousers. You gesture for your cousin to watch closely. You point out the precise shape of the leaves, the way they join at the stem, contrasting it with a similar-looking but useless plant nearby. Getting it wrong can mean wasted effort, or worse, a belly full of poison. With your digging stick, you begin to attack the frozen soil around the plant's base. It's brutal work. The ground is as hard as rock, and you have to chip away at it, scraping and gouging, your shoulders and back already aching with the effort. After several minutes of hard labor, you manage to loosen the earth enough to pry out your prize, a cluster of thin, gnarled, pale roots. They look pathetic, dirty, twisted, and unappetizing. A Michelin star. This is not, but they are dense with stored energy, and when roasted in the embers of the fire, they will become soft and almost sweet. You drop them into the hide bag with a satisfying thud. You move on, your eyes scanning, always scanning. You scrape patches of dark, flaky lichen from the sun-facing side of rocks. It tastes like dirt, but it fills the stomach. You find the thorny bush the elder drew, its branches still clinging with a miserly handful of shriveled frost-bitten berries. They are so sour they make your jaw ache, but they are a burst of sharp, intense flavor in a world of blandness. Deeper along the ridge, you find a plant you recognize, not for your stomach, but for your body. Its leaves are feathery, its flower, long since dead. Your cousin looks at it, confused, as it has no obvious root or berry. You pluck a few leaves, crush them in your palm, and bring them to your nose. The smell is bitter, medicinal. You've seen the elder make a tea from this, for the coughing sickness that sometimes comes in the deep winter. You've seen her chew it into a paste to put on infected wounds. You don't understand how it works. You only know that it does. The scientific descendants of those other humans, the lanky newcomers, will one day analyze the plaque on the teeth of your kin and find the chemical signatures of yarrow and chamomile, plants with no nutritional value but powerful medicinal properties, and they will realize your knowledge of this land was far deeper than they ever imagined. You gather a handful and add it to the bag. The afternoon wears on. Your collection grows slowly, painfully. A root here, some lichen there. It is the opposite of the hunt. There is no adrenaline, no thrill, only the slow, grinding, patient work of accumulation. It is humbling. As you pass a small grove of white-barked birch trees, you pause and run your hand over the papery surface. You are reminded of the black, sticky tar you used to bind your The process of creating it is complex, requiring you to heat the bark for hours in a sealed container, a hole in the ground, to cook it without air until the tar drips out. It's a kind of alchemy, turning bark into a superglue that is the foundation of your technology. You shoulder the lumpy hide bag, its weight a dense, reassuring presence, and turn back towards the direction of the cave. Your young cousin, his face raw from the wind, follows dutifully. The trek back is downhill, easier on the legs, but a different kind of urgency pushes you now. The sun is dying, and the cold that will replace it is a far more dangerous beast than the wind. But as you reach the crest of the ridge, you stop. You stop not because of a sound, not because of a threat, but because of the sight. The world has been set on fire. The sun, a perfect, burning orange sphere, is kissing the horizon. The horizon is not a gentle curve of earth, but a jagged, saw-toothed line of distant, ice-draped mountains. Below them, stretching to infinity, is the great ice sheet, the frozen river that has swallowed the world, and the light of the setting sun is transforming it. The vast expanse of white is no longer white. It is a canvas for impossible colors. Broad strokes of incandescent orange and deep royal purple bleed into one another. The undersides of the high, thin clouds are painted a delicate, fiery pink, like the inside of a seashell. The snow on the peaks of the mountains glows with a fierce, red light, as if the mountains themselves are burning from within. Long, impossibly deep blue shadows stretch from every rock and ridge, creating a stark, beautiful geometry on the landscape. There is no haze, no pollution from a million future chimneys to soften the view. The spectacle is terrifyingly clear, sharp and overwhelming in its scale and beauty. You simply stand and watch. The wind, as if in reverence, begins to die down. A profound silence settles over the world, broken only by the sound of your own quiet breathing. The gnawing hunger, the aching muscles, the memory of the bear, the constant, low-level anxiety of survival, it all recedes, washed away by the sheer, magnificent glory of the sky. This moment serves no practical purpose. It will not fill your belly or warm your skin. It will not sharpen your spear or protect you from a predator. And yet, you are compelled to witness it. As the light shifts, a sparkle catches your eye at your feet. Not the glitter of frost, but a metallic glint from a small, dark rock. You bend down and pick it up. Most of it is dull, ordinary stone, but embedded within it are tiny, perfect cubes of a yellow, sparkling mineral, pyrite, fool's gold. It is useless. It is not strong enough for a tool, and you cannot eat it. But as you turn it in your calloused fingers, it catches the last rays of the dying sun and flashes with a tiny, captured piece of the sunset's fire. It is beautiful, for no other reason than that. You slip it into the small leather pouch at your belt, alongside your flint knife, a secret treasure. It joins a smooth, strangely shaped riverstone and a fossilized shell you found last summer. A collection of things that are simply interesting. You let out a low, soft sound, a quiet hum of appreciation that vibrates in your chest. It is not a word, but it is communication nonetheless. Your throat and tongue, shaped by a hyoid bone almost identical to that of the lanky modern humans who are still thousands of years from dominating this continent, are perfectly capable of complex sound. You could speak, and in your own way, you do. This sound you make is a response to the beauty before you, a simple expression of awe. Watching the colors blaze and then begin to fade into a deep, velvety indigo, a strange feeling flickers within you. It is a question without words, a momentary sense of your own smallness in this immense, powerful world. You see the light, the ice, the mountains, the first star pricking the darkness, and you feel a connection to it all, a sense of being a part of it, not just a creature struggling upon its surface. It is a flicker of the abstract, a spark of the symbolic. Future historians will sift the dirt of your graves and find you buried deliberately, sometimes with tools or cuts of meat. They will argue endlessly about what this means, whether it points to a belief in an afterlife, adorning spirituality. They will wonder if your mind could grasp a concept as profound as eternity. You don't have the words for it, but as the last sliver of the sun disappears and the cold rushes in with a sudden, shocking intensity, you feel it, a mystery, a wonder. The moment breaks. The fire is gone from the sky, and the world is now shades of deep blue and black. The cold is no longer a companion, it is an enemy. The show is over. You give your cousin a nudge, a silent command. Time to go. You turn your back on the magnificent, darkening vista and begin the final trek home. The image of the burning sky seared into your mind. The peace of the moment lingers, a warm coal in your chest against the encroaching cold of the night. The quiet peace of the sunset still warms your mind as you make the final approach to the cave. The familiar orange glow of your hearth fire is visible now, painting the limestone cliff face with flickering light. It's a welcome sight, a beacon of safety and warmth in the rapidly darkening world. You can already imagine the feel of the fire on your skin, the taste of the roasted roots you carry in the heavy bag on your back. But the image shatters. Something is wrong. You stop dead, your arm shooting out to halt your young cousin behind you. He freezes instantly, sensing the change in you. You strain your senses, trying to pinpoint the source of your sudden unease. It's the firelight. It's too bright, too large, as if someone has piled on fuel with abandon. And then you hear, it is sound drifting on the cold night air. It's a voice, but it's wrong. It is not the familiar guttural language of your clan. It is higher-pitched, the sounds more varied and complex, flowing together in a way that is utterly alien to your ears. The peace in your chest evaporates, and is replaced by a surge of ice-cold dread. Strangers here, at your home. You motion for your cousin to stay hidden, to be silent. You shrug the heavy bag of roots from your shoulder, letting it fall softly to the ground. Its contents are meaningless now. You unsling your spear, the new spear, its perfect point seeming to absorb the faint light, making it a sliver of pure darkness. You are no longer a gatherer. You are a warrior. You are a protector. You move forward, but not towards the welcoming light. You slip into the deep shadows at the edge of the clearing, becoming just another rock, another patch of darkness. You creep from boulder to tree, your movements utterly silent, your body low to the ground. The smell of your home's smoke reaches you, but it is mingled with another scent, an unfamiliar musk. The scent of them dot from behind a large frost-shattered rock. You peer into the firelit clearing in front of your cave, and you see them. There are 4 of them. They stand with a casual arrogance near the entrance to your home, their forms silhouetted against your fire. They are like you, but unnervingly different. They are taller, lankier, their limbs long and slender, where yours are short and thick. Their foreheads are high and flat, their chins more pronounced. Their faces lack the comforting, familiar projection of your own kin. They carry spears, but they are flimsy-looking things. Long, thin shafts with small, sharp points of bone or flint that look more like delicate blades than your robust, all-purpose points. Your clan is where they should be, inside the cave, but they are huddled at the very back, their shapes made small by fear. Your uncle is there, standing silently between the strangers and your family, his own heavy spear held ready. But he is 1 man against 4. At the front of your clan, not hiding, but watching with a stony, ancient calm, is the elder. She is not armed. She is not a physical threat, but her gaze is hard and unwavering. She is the soul of the clan, and she will not be cowed. A hot, furious anger begins to burn away your fear. This is your home. That is your fire. These are your people. The audacity of these intruders, warming themselves by your hearth, inspecting your territory as if it were theirs for the taking, is an intolerable insult. You step out from behind the rock. You don't shout. You don't roar. You simply emerge from the darkness, your spear held ready at your side, and plant your feet in the clearing, a silent, deadly statement. I am here. The strangers turn as one, their movements quick and fluid. Their eyes lock onto you. For a moment, no one moves. It is a standoff of profound, terrifying significance. You assess them, their numbers, their strange weapons, their lean, wiry strength. They assess you, your immense barrel-chested build, your raw, muscular power, the brutal effectiveness of the heavy spear in your hand. They see your uncle inside the cave, another bastion of defiance. They see the two of you, a wall of Neanderthal power and resolve. The one who appears to be their leader takes a step forward. He says something in his strange, flowing language. The words mean nothing to you, a cascade of meaningless syllables, but the tone is clear. It is not an immediate threat. It is a declaration. It is a question. What are you, and what will you do? You have faced the cave bear, the woolly rhino, the terror of starvation, and the crushing cold. But this is a new kind of fear. This is not a mindless beast acting on instinct. This is a rival intelligence, a different kind of human, looking at you with calculating eyes. This is competition. This is the future, arrived uninvited at your doorstep. Historians will debate this moment for millennia to come. Was the end of your people a story of violence and conflict, of you being wiped out by these newcomers, or was it a slower, sadder story of being outcome? The air crackles with a tension that is colder than the night itself. Every muscle in your body is coiled, ready to explode into violence. Your spear feels like a part of your arm, an extension of your will. The leader of the newcomers holds your gaze, his own strange, dark eyes filled with a mixture of caution and appraisal. The fate of two peoples, the result of 1,000 generations of separate journeys, feels balanced on the razor's edge of this single moment. Then, the tension is broken by a sound. It is not a war cry or a challenge. It is a wet, rattling cough, followed by a low groan of pure misery. The sound comes from the back of the strangers group. One of their number, who you now see has been leaning heavily on another, suddenly slumps. Their legs give way, and they collapse into a heap on the frozen ground. The standoff is shattered. The other strangers abandon their aggressive postures in an instant, turning to their fallen companion with cries of alarm. Their strange melodic language is no longer a declaration of presence. It is a chorus of distress. The leader whips his head back to look at you, his face a mask of desperation. The calculating rival is gone, replaced by a man watching a member of his family die. The immediate threat has vanished. This is not a war party. This is a group in crisis, who perhaps saw the light of your fire as a last, desperate hope for warmth. Slowly, cautiously, you lower the point of your spear, just a few inches. Beside you, your uncle mirrors the gesture. This is a story you understand. This is a language of pain and loss that needs no translation. The anger in your chest subsides, replaced by a wary, morbid curiosity. The newcomers seem to take your gesture as the truce it is. Two of them lift their fallen comrade. The body is limp, a dead weight. You can see now that this person was gravely ill, their face pale and gaunt in the firelight. They carry the body a short distance away from your cave entrance, to a small, flat patch of ground beneath the overhang of the cliff. They lay it down with a gentleness that surprises you. Then they begin a task you recognize, with a jolt of profound familiarity. One of them produces a tool you have never seen before, the wide, flat shoulder blade of a giant elk. Its edge sharpened and begins to dig into the hard, frozen earth. It's a shovel. They are digging a grave. You and your clan watch in silent fascination from the mouth of the cave. The work is slow and arduous. The ground is unforgiving, but they work together, taking turns, chipping and scraping away until they have carved a shallow pit from the earth. When they are done, they gently lift the body and place it inside. They don't just drop it in. They carefully arrange the limbs, tucking the knees up towards the chest in a position of sleep, or perhaps of birth. It is an act of unmistakable reverence, Then the ritual begins. One of them opens a small pouch and takes out a lump of the same red ochre the elder uses. They have ground it into a fine powder, and they sprinkle it over the body, staining the skin and furs a vibrant blood red. Another of the strangers steps forward. They hold a beautiful, unused flint knife, a long, slender blade, far more delicate than any you make. For a moment you think it is for some further mutilation, but instead, they place it carefully in the dead person's hand, a tool for a journey you cannot comprehend. Finally, a third member places a small, sad-looking handful of dried herbs and hardy winter grasses on the body's chest, a pathetic bouquet, but a symbol nonetheless, a gesture of beauty in the face of oblivion. As they cover the body with the earth they removed, they begin to make a sound. It is a low, humming chant, a mournful, wordless song that rises and falls in the cold night air. The melody is alien, but the emotion it carries is as familiar as the ache of hunger. It is grief. It is the sound of loss. It is a song for the dead. You stand and witness this sacred, private moment. Historians will one day unearth your own buried dead, finding them in similar pits, in similar flexed positions. They will argue for centuries about the meaning. Does this act prove a belief in an afterlife? Is it a religious rite, or simply a way to keep predators from the body, an act of sentiment and sanitation? You do not have the words for these complex questions. But as you watch these strange new people mourn their dead with the same solemn care as your own clan, a profound realization dawns. These creatures, these rivals, these threats, they feel loss as you do. They respect their dead as you do. They look into the great, silent darkness of death and feel the need to respond with a ritual of meaning and beauty. It does not make them your friends. The suspicion has not vanished, but it chips away at the wall of fear and anger. It makes them something more than monsters. It makes them people. The shared, terrible, universal fact of mortality. The last notes of the stranger's mournful chant fade into the vast, cold silence of the night. They stand for a moment around the small mound of disturbed earth, their shoulders slumped in exhaustion and grief. The immediate crisis of death has passed, leaving a vacuum of uncertainty. The standoff is technically over, but its resolution hangs uneasily in the frigid air. They are still here. You are still here, and the night is still long and full of dangers. You watch them, your spears still held loosely, ready. You notice that their own small fire, which they must have carried with them on their journey, has been neglected during their ordeal. The flames are gone, and now only a pathetic cluster of embers sheds a weak, pulsing glow, threatening to be extinguished by the slightest breeze. To lose one's fire in the heart of an Ice Age night is a death sentence, as sure as a predator's bite. It means no warmth, no protection, and no way to cook food. Creating fire from scratch, by drilling wood or striking pyrite, is a task, often impossible in damp or freezing conditions. Fire is not a thing you make, it is a thing you keep, and theirs is dying. The leader of the strangers seems to realize this at the same moment you do. A new kind of desperation crosses his face. He looks from his fading embers to the roaring, magnificent blaze at the heart of your cave. Your fire is a statement of your success, your stability. It is a pillar of life, crackling with warmth and confidence. His gaze is full of a desperate, primal longing. He does not make a move towards your cave. The truce is far too fragile for that. A direct approach would be seen as an act of aggression, and the violence that was so narrowly avoided would erupt at once. Instead, he takes a hesitant step forward and does something that requires more courage than any challenge. He asks for help. He points a long, slender finger, first at his own dying coals, then extends his hand, open and empty, towards your fire. He makes a soft, questioning sound, a plea that is universal in its intent. Please, your uncle, beside you, lets out a low, guttural growl. It is the sound of pure, possessive instinct. Share our fire, our most precious resource, the very heart of our existence, with them, with these others. His reaction is your own first instinct, to hoard, to protect what is yours. Let their weakness be their end. It is the simple, brutal logic of survival. But then, from the relative darkness within the cave, a new sound comes. It is a soft, two-note call from the elder. It is not a command, but a suggestion, a note of calm, considered wisdom that cuts through your hot, instinctual refusal. You don't need to see her face to understand her meaning. A conflict born of their desperation would be costly, perhaps deadly. They are weak now, grieving and cold. But a cornered animal is the most dangerous. Giving them fire is a small price to pay to ensure they leave in peace. It is not an act of charity. It is an act of superior strategy, you understand. The gesture must be made, and as the one who faced them down, the gesture must come from you. You turn your back on the strangers and walk to your hearth. You select a long, straight branch from the firewood pile and thrust one end deep into the roaring blaze. It smokes, blackens, and then catches, erupting into a bright, vibrant torch. You hold it aloft. The flame illuminates your face, your heavy brow, your powerful jaw. You want them to see that this is not an act of fear or submission. It is a choice. Holding the torch high, you walk back out into the center of the clearing. The strangers watch your approach, their faces a mixture of hope and deep suspicion. You do not hesitate. You walk directly to their sad little fire pit, and, without ceremony, plunge the blazing end of your branch into their pile of dying embers. There is a hiss, a cloud of acrid smoke, and then a series of sparks. A small flame licks at a piece of dry moss, catches, and then with a gentle whoosh, the fire is reborn. A weak but steady flame begins to grow, pushing back the darkness, promising another sunrise. You have given them back their life. You pull your branch back and let it fall to the ground. You look the leader of the strangers in the eye. His face is a complex mask of emotions, shock, profound relief, and a weary gratitude. He gives you a short, sharp nod. It is not the nod of a friend. It is the acknowledgement of a debt between equals, a gesture of respect. That is all that passes between you. The transaction is complete. The strangers huddle around their renewed flame, gathering their meager belongings. After a few minutes, they are ready. The leader gives your, with the strangers and their borrowed fire gone, a profound quiet settles back over your small territory. The night is yours again. The clan, after the silent, shared trauma of the intrusion, slowly relaxes. The children, who had been preternaturally silent, begin to whisper amongst themselves. Your uncle takes a piece of charred wood and methodically scrapes the last of the roasted root from a hot stone. The rhythm of normal life returns, stitching the wound of the evening's strangeness closed. You find yourself leaning back against the smooth, cold limestone of the cave wall, your position giving you a perfect view out of the entrance and into the deep, bottomless ocean of the night. The lingering tension from the encounter has made you hyper-aware, and that awareness now turns from terrestrial threats to the cosmos itself. The sky you see is not the sky of the future. It is a sky that has been lost, a sky drowned in the artificial light of a billion coming cities. The darkness is not a flat, empty black. It is a rich, textured, living thing. The great smoky band that your distant descendants will call the Milky Way is not a faint, hazy suggestion. It is a thick, churning river of light, a celestial spine arching across the heavens, so dense with stars it looks like spilled salt. The stars themselves don't twinkle. In the pure, cold, stable air of the Ice Age, they burn with a fierce, unwavering intensity, sharp diamonds of white, blue, and pale gold scattered on black velvet. You lie there, mesmerized by the sheer, overwhelming number of them. The spectacle is so grand it should be terrifying, a reminder of your own insignificance. But instead, it feels like a homecoming. It is the roof of your world, the one constant in a life of brutal uncertainty. The elder, seeing where your attention lies, makes a low, humming sound. She rises from her spot by the fire, her old bones creaking, and comes to sit near you at the mouth of the cave. She doesn't speak, not at first. She simply looks up with you, her ancient eyes reflecting the starlight. Then, she slowly raises a gnarled, trembling hand and points. She traces a shape in the air, connecting a sprawling pattern of bright and faint stars. To a future culture, this same patch of sky might be a queen in a chair or a winged horse, but you do not see those things through the elder's guidance and the stories she has told 100 times. You see what is real to you. You see the great elk, its magnificent antlers spreading wide across the sky, its head bowed as if to drink from the black river of space. Her finger moves, tracing another, more compact cluster. Mammoth. You can see its high domed head, the curve of its back, the long downward sweep of its trunk. Historians of the future will debate endlessly whether your minds were capable of creating such myths, such complex narratives to explain the cosmos. They will search for evidence of art and symbols and find it frustratingly scarce. But they won't be able to see this quiet, shared moment of creation, where the stories are not carved in stone, but are spoken into the cold night air and drawn onto the canvas of the sky itself. This is your art, a living, breathing folklore. The elder makes a soft grunting sound, the sound of a spear being thrown, and points to a perfectly straight line of 3 bright stars. The hunter's spear, it flies forever across the sky, aimed at the heart of a small, trembling cluster of stars that you know as the fawn. A story of the eternal hunt, played out every single night above your head. A single, brilliantly bright, the star that hangs low in the west is the unblinking eye of the cave bear, a lonely, powerful guardian watching over the world. When a star falls, a streak of brilliant, fleeting light, the elder has taught you that it is a spirit of an ancestor, making the journey from the sky back to the earth to be reborn. You listen, not just with your ears, but with your memory. You are connecting to a chain of knowledge that stretches back beyond your grandfather, beyond his grandfather, into the deep, unknowable past. You are all part of the same story, living under the same star animals. Looking up at the mammoth and the great elk, you feel a sense of belonging, of order. You are not a random creature on a meaningless rock. You are a part of this grand, cosmic hunt. The universe is not silent. It is telling you a story about your own world, the problems of your day, the failed hunt, the gnawing hunger, the strange and unsettling encounter with the others. Begin to feel small. Your life, your clan, is but one tiny flicker of light in this vast, star-dusted darkness, but it is a flicker with meaning, a flicker that is part of a pattern. The hunter's spear will fly across the sky tomorrow night, and the night after. The great elk will always be there. Under the steady, the deep cosmic peace of the star story settles in your bones. The universe feels orderly, known. The fire at your back is a warm, solid presence, and the thought of sleep, of curling into the fur pile and letting the day's exhaustion claim you, is a welcome one. You pull your gaze from the celestial mammoth and are about to turn back into the deeper warmth of the cave when a sound slices through the night, shattering the tranquility. It comes from the valley below, a frantic shrieking that is pure terror. It is the sound of a prey animal, maybe a wild horse or a deer, in the final moments of its life. The scream is cut off abruptly, silenced with a wet, gurgling finality. A profound silence rushes back in, but it is not the peaceful silence from before. This is a heavy, listening silence. The hunters of the night are active. Instantly, the entire clan is on alert. The low whispers of the children cease. Your mother, who is dozing by the fire, is bolt upright, her eyes wide. Your uncle rises to his feet in a single, fluid motion, his spear appearing in his hand as if by magic. The story in the stars is forgotten. The only thing that matters now is the story on the ground, the one written in blood. You are on your feet as well, your own spear held tight, your body a coiled spring of readiness. You stand at the cave mouth, peering into the oppressive darkness beyond the ring of your firelight. The fire, which a moment ago was a source of comfort, now seems pitifully small, a tiny island of safety in an infinite, hostile ocean of black. It casts long dancing shadows that twist and writhe, playing tricks on your eyes, making every rock and bush seem to move with a sinister life of its own. Crack! The sound is sharp, loud, and shockingly close. It's the unmistakable sound of a heavy foot stepping on a dry, frozen branch. It comes from just beyond the clearing, from the edge of the darkness where the firelight gives up. It is not the sound of a foraging rabbit or a skittish fox. It is the sound of something with weight, something trying and failing to be stealthy. Your heart hammers against your ribs. Your breath catches in your throat. You and your uncle take up positions, shoulder to shoulder, a two-man wall between your family and the unseen threat. You strain your ears, listening for the slightest hint of movement. Then it comes, a sound that bypasses your ears and sinks directly into your soul. It is a low, deep, rumbling cough, a sound of pure, confident power, the sound of a predator that knows it is the master of the darkness, Pantherus Belia, the great cave lion. It is larger, stronger, and more ferocious than its distant African cousins. It is the apex predator of this frozen world, and it is hunting in your front yard. Historians will one day debate the true power of your fire. Was it an absolute shield, a magical barrier that no beast would dare to cross? Or was it merely a deterrent, a warning that a desperate or starving predator would willingly ignore? You know the truth. It is a warning, and you pray this lion is not hungry enough to disregard it. Instinct takes over. You reach into the hearth and grab a long branch, its end already glowing. You wave it in the air, and it catches, becoming a sputtering torch. Your uncle does the same. You raise your voices in a guttural roar, a challenge meant to sound far more confident than you feel. For a terrifying second, you see them, 2 points of light, glowing a sickly green in the reflected light of your torches, a pair of eyes, watching you from the blackness. They are wide-set, unblinking, and utterly without emotion. They are simply calculating, assessing the fire, the spears, the number of you, assessing the risk versus the potential reward. The bones of some of your distant kin will be found in the dens of these creatures, proof that this calculation sometimes ends badly for your people. Asterisk. The lion coughs again, closer this time. The sound is a physical force, vibrating through the ground. It is testing you, applying pressure, trying to incite a panic, to make you run. It is an ancient, terrifying war of nerves. You scream back, a ragged, desperate sound, and wave your torch wildly, sending a shower of sparks arcing into the night. The whole clan joins in from the safety of the cave, a cacophony of shouts, screams, and growls. You are trying to sound like a formidable, unified force, a dangerous and unpredictable meal. The glowing green eyes watch for another long, agonizing moment. The entire world seems to be holding its breath. Then, they blink once, slowly, and they are gone. You hear a soft, heavy padding sound as the great cat turns and moves away. The silence the lion left behind is heavy and menacing. No one speaks. No one dares to move back towards the front of the cave. The beautiful, star-dusted sky holds no allure now. It is merely a dark ceiling for a world full of teeth. Sleep, which had seemed so close and inviting, is now an impossible thought. To close your eyes is to invite the image of the glowing green eyes. To fall asleep is to become vulnerable. Your uncle makes the decision for everyone. He gestures with his head towards the deepest, most secure part of the cave. He piles several large logs onto the fire, and it roars to life with a fierce, defiant crackle, throwing heat and light deep into the cavern. It's a profligate waste of precious firewood, but tonight, no one cares. The fire is a shield, and you are making it as thick as possible. There is no discussion. The clan instinctively understands what to do. The separate sleeping hollows are abandoned. Tonight, you are one. You all gravitate towards the center of the cave, creating a single, large nest of furs and body. It is the ultimate defense, a huddle of warmth and shared vigilance. You find yourself pressed between your mother's back and your uncle's side. Your young cousin, still trembling, burrows himself under your arm. Your brother, his injured leg propped up, is a warm, solid mass nearby. You pull the heavy, musky hides of bear and bison over all of you, creating a single breathing mound of humanity. This is the core of your existence. Geneticists of a future world will analyze the bones of a family like yours in a distant Siberian cave and find the evidence of this intimacy written in your very DNA, a small group of deeply related individuals, living and dying in incredibly close proximity. You are a single organism, and when threatened, you retreat into yourself. The feeling is one of profound, primal security. The collective warmth pushes back the cold. The solid breathing weight of your family presses in on all sides, a living wall against the terrors of the night. The familiar, ripe scent of your kin is the smell of safety itself. Sleep does not come as a gentle tide. It comes in fits and starts, a shallow, wary state of rest. Every pop from the fire, every gust of wind at the cave mouth, pulls you back towards wakefulness. This is the sleep of the hunted, a state of hypervigilance that is never truly turned off. It is a state that allows you to survive. But eventually, as the hours wear on and the fire burns steadily, your exhausted body and mind begin to give in, letting you drift deeper. And as you sink below the surface of consciousness, something remarkable happens. Your dream is not your own. It is a tapestry woven from the shared fears and, more importantly, the shared hopes of the huddling bodies around you. It is the clan's dream. You dream of warmth, not the fleeting, fireborn warmth you know, but a deep, penetrating warmth from a sun that is a brilliant, friendly yellow, not a pale, distant white. The ice is gone. The world is not grey and brown, but a staggering, impossible green. The trees are not hardy, spear-like pines, but broad-leafed giants, heavy with fruit. The ground is soft, covered in thick grass, not frozen rock. You dream of water. A wide, slow-moving river sparkles in the sun. It is not choked with ice, and it is full of fat, silver fish that are slow and easy to catch. You simply have to reach in and grab one. You dream of food. The great elk and the mammoth are still there, but they are not wary and dangerous. They move slowly, grazing peacefully in vast herds. They are plentiful, and the hunts are always successful, always easy. There is no hunger. The ache in your belly, the single most constant sensation of your waking life, is gone. In its place is a feeling of deep, quiet satisfaction. You see the children of the clan, not huddled and fearful, but running, laughing, their bellies full. You see the elder, her face not a mask of hard-won survival, but softened with a smile, her joints no longer aching. Historians will argue if your mind was capable of this kind of abstract, future-oriented thought. They will wonder if you could truly hope, or only react. But in the deep, shared subconscious of the clan's sleep, you build this paradise. It is a folk memory of a summer that perhaps never was, or a deep, desperate prayer for a summer that might one day be. It is the perfect opposite of your waking life. It is a dream of a world where you are not just surviving, but living. It is this shared dream, this collective, unspoken hope for a green and pleasant land, that gives you the strength to face the brutal reality of the ice when you wake. The dream of the green world, the warm world, begins to fray. The laughing sounds of the children grow distant. The brilliant yellow sun cools and fades, and the feeling of a full belly recedes into a hollow echo. The first thing you feel, the first anchor pulling you back to reality, is the biting cold on your cheek. The one small part of you exposed to the air outside the communal cocoon of fur and family. Reluctantly, your consciousness claws its way back to the surface, leaving the shared paradise behind. You open your eyes. The cave is dim and silent, bathed in the weak, grey light of a new dawn. The massive fire, which had roared so defiantly against the night's terrors, has exhausted itself. It is now just a large, deep bed of glowing red embers, exhaling a gentle, dying warmth. The air is thick with the smell of stale smoke and sleeping bodies. The night is over. You survived. Carefully, so as not to wake the others, you disentangle yourself from the huddle. You slip out from under the heavy furs, and the full force of the morning cold envelops you. The familiar aches in your joints and muscles greet you like old friends. The dull, persistent knot of hunger in your stomach reminds you that survival is a daily, relentless task. Your body is a furnace that requires a staggering amount of fuel to keep running in this cold. And yesterday's meager collection of roots and berries was barely enough to keep the pilot light lit. You look back at the sleeping pile of your kin. Their faces, softened by sleep, still seem to hold a faint residue of the peaceful dream. Your mother's brow is your cousin's mouth is slack with contentment. In this quiet moment, they are not just fellow survivors, they are the entire purpose of your existence. The fierce, protective love you feel for them is a physical ache in your chest, more powerful than the cold, more demanding than the hunger. You walk to the mouth of the cave, your bare feet silent on the dusty stone floor. You look out. A new day is being born into the world. The sky is the color of slate, the landscape the same vast, unforgiving panorama of rock and ice it has always been. Nothing has changed. The world has not magically transformed into the green paradise of your dreams. The challenges remain. The hunt for thousands upon thousands of calories must begin again. But the dream lingers in your mind, not as a disappointment, but as an ember of hope. It is a reminder of what you fight for. Not just survival, but the possibility, however remote, of something better. A day with less cold, less hunger, less fear. It is the promise that sustains you. You are a Neanderthal. Your people are not a fragile, fleeting experiment. You are the culmination of hundreds of thousands of years of endurance. Your ancestors survived ice ages before this one, adapting and enduring in a world that was constantly trying to erase them. That resilience is your blood, right? Your inheritance. Historians will one day argue about why your people vanished, whether it was a sudden catastrophe or a long, slow fading. But they will miss the most important point. For millennia upon millennia, you did not fail. You woke up, every single day, in the heart of this brutal, beautiful world. And you won. You reach for your spear, the one with the new point you crafted. You run your thumb over the cold, sharp flint. It glints faintly in the nascent dawn light, a perfect object of deadly purpose. You look out at the vast, frozen landscape, and this time, there is no fear, there is no despair. There is only a calm, quiet, unshakable resolve. The hunt awaits, the cold awaits, the world awaits, and you are ready. And now, the story is over. The Neanderthal's day begins, but your journey can come to a gentle close. Let the image of that lone, resilient figure at the mouth of the cave slowly fade from your mind. Feel the solid presence of your own bed beneath you, the soft weight of your own blanket. The cold of the Ice Age is a distant echo, replaced by the comfortable warmth of your room. The only sounds are the gentle hum of a fan, the quiet rhythm of your own breathing. There are no lions in the dark, there is no gnawing hunger, there is only this peace, this quiet, this stillness. Let your thoughts drift away like smoke, leaving your mind clear and calm. There is nothing left to do now, nothing at all, but to let go and sleep.